Hey there, and welcome to Large Format Friday. I'm your host, Matt Marrash. If this is the first time you're stopping by the channel, here's a playlist of our entire second season of LFF. If you haven't subscribed yet, each and every Friday, we're going to be here, and we're going to be chatting about something large format. We made it. It's 2021, and I'm here in a space that you don't ordinarily see me here on the channel, but I hope to be in here more and more often, and that's the black and white darkroom, specifically the rentals darkroom here at Midwest Photo. It's a black and white rentals darkroom that's tight on space, but big on gear and availability for printing and developing films. And for those of you that don't know, I make prints in the black and white darkroom, and I even sell them on my website. So if you're interested in any of the prints that you see here today, you can go over to mattmarrash.com or even just my last name, marrash.com, and there's a little prints tab, and you'll be able to see prints that I have available as inkjet for a little less money, or if you want the good stuff, I have some available as black and white silver gelatin prints. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're taking a black and white negative and contacting it in place with a piece of fiber black and white darkroom paper. It's a little bit of a detailed process, but the end result is a print that's going to last almost 100 years, which is awesome. So before we get printing, we have to get our sink space organized and set up. The way this darkroom is designed, we have our entryway over here, we have our enlargers just off to camera right here, and right behind me we have our sink layout. So the idea is you come in, you flow over to your enlarger, this is your dry area, and this area over here is your wet. In the wet area, this is where you're going to mix up your chemicals, do your developing, stop, fix, and final wash. And because my enlarger I'm working on is right here, I'm just going to flow right over and we're going to do our steps. We'll have our black and white paper developer, our stop bath, our fix, and then our wash. And that's going to flow right out the door to some drying racks. Okay, so I've got my trays set up. I have some Ilford Multigrade, which gets diluted 1 part concentrate, 9 parts water. That's in my first tray. For fiber paper, I'm going to need 2 minutes of developing time. My stop bath, this is concentrated 1 + 19, so 1 part stop to 19 parts water. And then I have my Ilford fixer. After that, it's going to go into this tray siphon here. What this is going to do is it's going to rinse through some water, and then there's another backtrack on here so it never overfills and keeps giving me fresh water the entire time. Now that we've got the wet side of the darkroom all set up, it's time to head over to our enlarger. There's 2 enlargers here in the Midwest Photo darkroom. There's a Bessler 45 VXL, which is a condenser type enlarger, and we also have a Saunders LPL 4500, which is a diffusion type enlarger. So we have a hard light source that is really sharp, prints fast, and is contrasty, and we have a diffuse source which is a little more forgiving on dust, and also allows you to select the grade or the contrast for your multi-grade or multi-contrast papers right in the enlarger. It even has Kodak and Ilford kind of filtration already built in, which is really, really nice. So while it's not 100% necessary to use a black and white enlarger as your light source for contact prints, it promotes a lot more consistency than using a bare bulb and just turning it on and off. We have a timer where we can control how many seconds our exposure is going. We have an aperture and a lens, so we don't need the lens because we just need a light source, but this also, again, through the f-stop gives me more consistent control over my exposures. And we have the height of the enlarger, so we can change how far that light has to travel. That will also affect our exposure on our black and white paper. As far as this little thing, this is just a Patterson proofer. It's nothing more than a piece of plastic, a thick piece of glass, and some foam. This is going to hold everything in nice contact, so the negative emulsion side down to the paper emulsion side up. We want to make that a really nice tight sandwich that's going to give us nice sharp contact prints. So I've got a nice square of light that's being projected onto the baseboard, and I just need enough light that it's going to hit this main area, and my negative is going to be underneath the glass right here. It's going to press it in contact. That's our contact print. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get some RC paper, some resin-coated paper. This is going to give me an idea where my exposure is going to need to be at, and I might do a test strip. So just something to tell me what my exposure time should be in the ballpark for when I get the fiber paper out. Okay, so I've got my first sheet of RC. This is RC Pearl, so it's got a bit of a luster finish to it. I'm going to do a contact sheet test strip. So I'm just gonna use a full sheet of RC. RC is inexpensive enough that I can just do that. And I wanna see all parts of the negative. So I'm gonna take my first negative here, and I'm gonna lay it emulsion side down. So I'm pressing the emulsion, so the dull side of this to the shiny side of this. So those two are in close contact. When I do that right, my notch code should be in my upper left-hand corner like that. I'm gonna press that in. I also have a lid here from my paper box, and that lid is gonna be used to mask this. So as I do my test strip, I'm gonna uncover more and more parts of it. So I have 12 seconds. I'm going to start that, and every 3 seconds I'm gonna pull it. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So ready, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's throw that in the developer. Got a minute on the clock. I always throw it emulsion side down, use my tongs, flip it up, and start rocking my tray. And we should see a nice stripe and defined lines. So more exposure and then less as we go closer. And this is good. We want to see a light to dark range. So this is 3 seconds, 6 seconds, 9 seconds, and 12 seconds. And if we did our job right, it shouldn't be 3 seconds and it shouldn't be 12 seconds. It should be somewhere in the middle here. And already I'm really liking what 9 seconds looks like. But we're going to process this and then turn the lights on and see what it looks like then. Now let's hit the lights and see what this looks like. Ooh. So things we're looking for in a contact print. We want to see that film rebate edge go completely black. So here it's gray. Here I can still see the difference between the end of the film and the paper. And here is where, with our least time, we have it pitch black. So, 12 seconds, obviously it's black, but it's also way darker in those areas. 9 seconds is looking really, really sweet. I'm guessing our final exposure is going to be really close to 9 seconds for this print. By the way, one kind of cool thing with this enlarger is the fact that it has the variable contrast grades built in. And there's a lever on this guy, and that actually changes the light. So if I want to have it as bright as possible for focusing, I just flip it that way. And if I flip it up to print, that's going to add that color grade filter in front of the light source. Right now I'm printing with a 3.5, which is not as aggressive as I thought I would need, but we'll keep going from here. All right, we got 2 minutes on the clock. First print's going in the drink. By the way, the paper I'm using, this is Ilford Multigrade Classic, black and white. This is fiber glossy. And what I've done is I've taken some 11 by 14 sheets and I've cut them down to 10 by 12. The reason is so this can fit in my contact printing frame, but also so I can mask off the area. This is something I learned from printing with Alan Ross. If you're gonna do contact prints, if you let the black developed area go all the way out to the edges, it's really easy for it to slough off or scrape off when you start drawing the prints. And I don't want that to happen. I want my prints to be, really nice and clean edge to edge. And a way to do that is to mask off the edges and leave those unexposed, undeveloped. Let's turn the lights on. Ooh, you know what? That's, no, this is good. So my final exposure for this one, I have f11 on my lens. I've got 12 seconds, and I've got a grade 2.5, which is a lot lighter than I thought, but it's all we need. So here we go. Very small amount of light, but that's all we need to make this delicate negative print. All right, it's been long enough we can turn the lights up. Oh yeah. That is what we like to see. That is right where we like it. I am very happy with that one. And hopefully the person who ordered this print is going to be really happy with it too. So another thing that we can do to help ourselves out in the printing process is a little comparative analysis between our negatives. So this is the negative we just printed from, and this is our next negative. Now, overall, they look pretty close, but this one has a smidge more contrast. So really what I'm going to do for my first test of this negative is I'm going to run a very similar exposure to what I used for this one, but instead I'm going to reduce my contrast from a 2.5 down to, I'm going to try a 2 first, and then I'm going to move it to a 1 if need be, because there's a lot of density in this fog behind these main trees. I took the offcuts from the trimming I was doing on the paper to make some test strips. This will help me save a couple bucks on paper I would have otherwise been throwing out. So this is looking good. We might just need to increase our exposure just by a tad, maybe like 1 or 2 seconds, but we're real close. All right, how are we looking? You know, I think we're already pretty close. What I'm gonna do, just to make sure I don't get too much darkness over here, I did have this as a much softer print. I like where this is going, but I wanna see some more of these trees in the background. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower the grade. We're at a solid 2 now, and I'm gonna back it off to a 1, just to see if I can get some more separation in these highlight values, and then I'm gonna dodge a little bit in this area. That's gonna prevent this from going too dark or muddy. Let's load up another sheet. Got our negative. Open up. Place it in. Make sure everything's straight. Straight as we can get it at least. Really important to line up that negative. And we can already see just with the paper backing it, this area is much lighter than this area. So I'm going to do my normal exposure, but then I'm also going to burn and prevent this area from getting too much more exposure. All right. Let's head over to the developer. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. Not every print has to have all the contrast in the world. This particular one was a foggy morning, and I want it delicate. Oh yes, that's what we want. So my prints are washing out now, and I've got one more thing I need to do before I rinse these and get them ready to dry, and that is I'm going to hit them with some RST, or Rapid Selenium Toner. This is a toner that will remove the silver halide and replace it with silver selenide. Depending on the concentration you use of this stuff, it's going to give you a warmer look. It can look anywhere from like a purpley to kind of a reddish tone in the shadows. So what it's going to do is it's going to intensify areas of the print that have already been reduced into silver. I'm going to take this toner and I'm going to give it a 1+9, which is not too strong and not too dilute. It's just going to be enough to tone it and give it that archival permanence. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in our first print. We're going to have it in here for at least a minute. So Selenium is on the right, regular prints are on the left. We should see, hopefully, a tone change start to occur. We want this to get a smidge darker. We also want to get it a little bit warmer. We want to get rid of that greenish cast that untoned paper generally has. And the longer you tone, the more pronounced. All right, let's call it 5 more seconds. Now that our prints have been rinsing off for, I'd say an additional 20 minutes is good after the Selenium toner, we're gonna go ahead and squeegee these and dry them. So the easiest way to squeegee them, get them nice and wet, get a flat surface like this tray here, draw a bead of water on it. I'm gonna put it face down to start. And I'm gonna take my print squeegee, get the excess water off the back, and now I'm gonna get some water off the front. I'm gonna flip it. There we go. And now we're going to take this out to the dryer. All right. Always got to clean up when you're done here in the darkroom. That about does it for black and white printing today. Remember, if you want to pick up any of the work that you saw me print today, or anything you've seen me make on the channel or you see on my website, you can head over to marrash.com. There's a link below in the description, and you can support the channel by buying yourself an archival silver gelatin print. If you have any questions about the black and white darkroom process, or you want to see more of this content, let me know down below in the comments. And for those long format questions, you can always feel free to shoot me an email, largeformatquestions@gmail.com. I think this is a great way to kick off 2021. Here's to spending more time in the darkroom, printing more of your work, and enjoying the large format process. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll catch you next week for more LFF.